introduction of into Kickstart. And then, as you know, we are primarily discussing the 10x, becoming a 10x professional or 10x engineering agenda today. So we'll be covering that, starting from the AI productivity tool, how they are transforming software development. We will also have a demonstration with these AI tools, how they are used in practice in a typical software engineering task or a workflow. And towards the end, I'll also sort of cover our upleveling solution into Kickstarter's upleveling solution on becoming a 10x professional, right? Overall, the session is going to be interactive. This is a masterclass for you guys. So you can keep on putting up your chat, keep on putting up your question in the chat or in the Q&A. If you have a question which is more on the conceptual side, deeper side, so please use the Q&A. If you want to just quickly interact with an instructor or answer some of the questions that instructor will ask, so you can use the chat for that. Okay. So this is how we'll go about the session. So let me start by quickly introducing you to Interview Kickstart, and then we'll straight away jump into the main agenda for today. So at Interview Kickstart, it's been 10 years since we have started with Interview Kickstart. We are doing what we do. Interview Kickstart started primarily as a platform for FANG Plus company interviews, helping working professionals crack FANG Plus company interviews. And from there, we built a strong understanding of what FANG Plus companies are looking for, what it takes to be successful in these companies. We then ventured into machine learning and AI as well, launched outcome-centric product portfolio for various needs of working professionals, including one for becoming an end-to-end machine learning engineer, or latest one are around agentic AI as well, right? We have an alumni community of 21,000 folks. We have an alumni community of 21,000 folks. I don't know why my face is not visible, but my camera is on. Maybe some issue with the network. Please pardon me, guys. And we have, so typically at Interview Kickstart, we offer outcome-centric and domain-specific courses. So we have 18 different disciplines in which the courses are offered. These domains are across software, product, management, systems. So our learners get a personalized curriculum as per their own domain, so that the skills they are learning are very relevant, and be it the machine learning skills or interview preparation, they get it targeted from the practitioners as well, who have been there, done that from their own domain, right? Typical offer for our students range from 250K and then the highest being 1.2 million. And in the last few years, we have been included in GSV 150 world changing transformation companies around online education, something which we are incredibly proud about, right? So that's the quick introduction of Interview Kickstart. We'll now be moving forward with the main agenda. I'll be requesting Kyle from this point to take over the presentation. Kyle, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, hi, Kyle. Thanks for joining in. You can you can share your screen and take forward the agenda.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. All right. Yeah, so just a quick introduction for myself. Let me just shorten that. So yeah, currently I'm a principal backend engineer at Oracle, but I've also worked at AWS before, leading the development of AI-powered developer tools and shaping engineering tools as well. So worked a lot on developer SDKs, both at AWS, at Oracle, and at startups beforehand. And yeah, on the side, I work a lot with building agentic AI for a wide variety of use cases, as well as aggressively using AI tools for my own coding flows and general productivity flows as well. Okay, cool. So yeah, just kind of talking about coding automation, kind of what the general history has been. I'm sure you guys have all used IDEs and you get some basic autocomplete features. Essentially zooming towards the present, you're seeing a lot of new changes recently where we have these IDEs that have AI directly integrated within them, like Cursor, like Windsurf, and like the original GitHub Copilot chat as well. These tools are contextualized, so they can read your code, they can make inline suggestions. But recently, starting about a year or two with Cursor especially, they automatically indexed your code base. So you could start asking the AI questions, and it would just know based on all of the files in your code base what exactly you're asking. And yeah, in 2024 and especially 2025, and just in these last few weeks, we're seeing the big next steps towards autonomous developer agents for coding that we'll discuss more later on. Awesome. So yeah, let's just briefly talk about how AI can really help with the productivity of your developer workflows. So it's really broken down into speed, quality, knowledge, and focus. So I think the biggest thing a lot of you guys will probably appreciate is the speed. So AI can just auto write a lot of the boilerplate template code. Another interesting way to think about this is that I'm sure if you guys have been coding for the last 4 years, we've all used like React sample apps, React starter apps, or Flutter dev starter apps to create a basic template for us to start coding. Well, now with the speed in which AI can rapidly write basic code, we can just ask the AI to write ourselves a template and get a tailored template to whatever beginner project we might be working on. So that's the speed part. For quality, yeah, this is definitely ongoing, especially in my experience. The AI doesn't necessarily get the right output, and there actually have been tests that show that AI writes security vulnerabilities in the code it writes. So take quality with a grain of salt, but I think really the quality gains is from the fact that if you do ask the AI to help you find bugs and to help you maybe find any syntax or logical errors, it's surprisingly good at that. So it's a two-sided coin where it will write crappy code, but it's also quite good at detecting if you're writing crappy code as well. So there's a bit of nuance with getting the right results there, but it's certainly going to be improving over time. And knowledge is a really good one as well. So I think a lot of people think of AI enhanced productivity as just getting things done for them, which is obviously a big part of it. But at least in my flow and with the people I work with who use AI tooling, AI is actually a very good teacher as well. And knowing the right questions to ask AI, it can actually have it teach you everything you need to know. So like I didn't until rather recently, I hadn't worked a lot in Python. I hadn't worked a lot in SQL. And I just had these long-winded conversations with the AI asking, hey, how do I do this in SQL? How do I do this in Python? And it taught me and kind of guided me as we were writing the code. So very interesting there. And then focus. Yeah, so it essentially it's very interesting. So you guys are all developers, so I'm sure you know this as well. When we talk about focus here, we think about how information itself is being centralized, and this is something that's going to be changing more as well. But at least in my own work, I would have to look through the documentation, and I've worked at big tech, and documentation is just like not coordinated, not organized. So half of the battle is not only looking for the documentation, but finding the right person to ask, finding which version of the documentation is correct. This is an ongoing piece of work, but as AI gets better and better, all of the information that you need and the AI will need to write that proper piece of code is all going to be accessed and regurgitated and used by the AI running within your IDE. So very interesting. We're at our current stage, but we're really reinventing how we work as developers as AI gets better and better. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, just a quick basics coverage in case you guys don't know. There's a difference between LLMs and tools. So LLMs are kind of the AI bots where you prompt it or give it a question, and it gives you a response in a text format. That's on the left side, LLMs. Now, tools are very interesting because it allows these LLMs to start to interact with the environment. So that's a big way in which these AI developer tools are working. We have the base LLMs, but these base LLMs now have access to a series of tools that are getting better and better to perform actions on your behalf. So there are things like research tools, taking actions. even thinking tools. And this is interesting because you think tools are essentially ways in which the AI can act, but you can actually also tweak the behavior of the AI by offering like a think tool to give the AI the ability to say, hey, I'm going to call this tool and think about my problem. And in research tests done a couple months ago, they actually found that AI would use that tool to think through the problem and get a better result. And then things like set goals, there are actually interesting tools that are essentially memory tools, and again, goal planning tools that the AI can call to help it structure its goal setting and help it memorize everything important in your previous interactions as well. So yeah, tools are normally for AI to take actions like to write your code or look up pieces of your code, but also there are specific tools that can get the AI to behave in certain ways that can improve its effectiveness as well. All right. Okay, so yeah, I think you guys obviously have a general idea of how to use these AI tools, but here's just a good visualization of how that might work. So obviously, starting from the bottom, it's really going to help you improve on productivity because it's really increasingly starting to take care of all of those menial tasks, like writing basic code, auto-completing basic for loops is what we started with. Now it can write basic classes, structure them together, refactor your code even, etc. And a really big part that's been growing in the last year or two has been system integration. So now, back in the day, I'm sure we all would like copy paste our code to a chat GPT and have it give us a better answer. But now with these AI powered IDEs, with GitHub increasingly using more and more AI is just everywhere now. Even if you use Zoom, Zoom has an AI. Gmail has AI. Everything has an AI now. So we're increasingly seeing AI integrated into all of our software tools so that they implicitly know everything that's going on within that tool for the AI to provide the proper help for you. And then, yeah, this is an interesting. So workflow abstraction, simplifying complex processes for targeted tasks. Now this, at least for me, means specifically that increasingly in my coding, I'm not thinking in terms of the for loops and the variables, not even in terms of the classes sometimes. I'm thinking more, what's the goal? What needs to be done? And how do I validate that? And essentially writing up a design doc and sending it to the AI. And with the increasing strength and reasoning capabilities of these models, sometimes it's really all it needs to write out and do a lot of the things that need to be done. And yeah, task specialized applications. So besides our AI developer tools, something we'll briefly mention later on in this conversation is just that there's just AI for everything at this point. Everything software related is increasingly controlled by AI or has it integrated within it to improve your functionality within it. Cool. All right, so I think you guys know a bit already, but yeah, again, to cover the basics, why do we need them? So yeah, so it's really the future. So I don't know if you guys have all used LLMs to code, but at least in my case, I've seen at least a 2 times boost in productivity because I can think in a much deeper and at a much higher level and not worry about a lot of the details. So we have a lot of different tools now. So we have our coding assistants, which help you write the code, but we also have dedicated website AI, which can actually write basic applications from scratch for you. So Lovable, Bolt, Firebase Studio, these are some of the higher level tools that you can use as well. All right, just moving on. So yes, here is a full kind of rundown of all of the different tools that you can be using. So starting from the left here, a lot of what I'll cover next as well are going to be these AI-based coding IDE tools. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have used them, but we'll share some basic tips as well. But these are kind of what's really going to be reinventing how we work as developers. But there are also other tools as well. I briefly mentioned kind of other application websites that have an AI tailored towards building a full application from the get-go for you. Now, personally, in my experience, as a developer, I'm sure you guys all know that writing the basic app is really not the full flow you need to do. There's a lot of kind of bug fixing and individual changes. So these will probably grow over time, but likely can't be used to create everything at the moment. And now, looking at this fourth column here, autonomous engineers and ops, we're increasingly getting into a situation where the AI is good enough to solve longer and longer form tasks. So I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Moore's law, where our computing power is like doubling every so many years. Well, they actually have shown a similar trend with the power of AI. So after so many amount of times, we're seeing a doubling in the length of the tasks that the AI can handle well. So back in the day, it could handle a 20-second task. Now it's a 30-second, 40-second, 5-minute, 10-minute task. And I'm sure if you guys read the news today, and I'm still learning myself, the recent release of the Cloud 4.0 Opus model is supposedly able to handle tasks that take, I think, up to an hour or multiple hours to complete. So we're increasingly going to see a lot more here. We're really at the tail end of this. Like, we're going to see a lot more happening. We saw a lot in these last few weeks, but we're increasingly going to see tools that can just take your code and run with it like a junior dev and complete tasks that would normally take hours over the course of several minutes instead. Now, this is really different. In case it's not clear, we're strongly in this code assistant IDE integration stage where you talk to the AI within your IDE, it kind of writes code for you, but you're also writing the code. It can refactor some code you're writing at the moment, but you as a human are present and working with the AI. Now, this fourth column is really where kind of we get to a bit of a scarier future where now a human is not sitting down next to this AI. The AI is just taking a specific command and running and doing the task all by itself. And then maybe a human at the end will still review it. But as the AI was completing its task, there's no expectation for a human to sit down and wait for it to do it. So we're increasingly going to see more advancements in this sphere, just like we again saw in the last few weeks. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, just a quick question here. Are any of you familiar with any of these AI tools? These are some of the top. I'm sure you guys heard Windsurf was recently acquired by OpenAI for, I think, a lot of money, over $1 billion or multi-billion. So very big space for AI tools. Yeah. And then, yeah, do you think AI tools can add some superpower for developers? So again, what do you think? Cool. So now let's go on to our next section here. So how LLMs are evolving in code generation accuracy. So yeah, these benchmarks are just like continuously being broken and increased upon. If you guys saw like benchmarks for the Claude 4.0 model today, it surpasses all of the other previous models' coding benchmarks. I think I can't remember exactly, but I think like a year ago, there was actually a different benchmark for coding, and they had to swap it out because all of the models maxed out on it. Like, they keep on getting better and better, that they're actually reinventing the benchmark sometimes because they just surpass what was previously thought was not possible before. But yeah, you can see there's certainly a very big trend of the AI models just getting better and better over time. Yeah, some basic studies on developer productivity. What are some of the highlights? So a lot of developers are planning to use AI tools. You'd be surprised. I mean, I think you guys are a very good crowd, but I've met developers who are really adamant against using AI tools. And I'm sure, hopefully, at the end of the session, and almost from your own intuition, you can start to appreciate how like almost dangerous that type of mindset would be, and how far behind someone with that mindset would be compared to the rest of the developers who actually adopt AI aggressively within their own workflows. Cool. Oh, and besides that, like, let's see, I think the CEOs of GitHub and Anthropic, they like to say things to hype themselves up, but I'm pretty sure the CEO of Anthropic said that like 90% or more of all code would be AI generated by the end of 2025. I'm like paraphrasing here, but I think he also said like in 2 years, like all code will be AI generated. So that sounds a bit aggressive, but given the recent advancements, it certainly sounds like it's in within the realm of the possible. So a bit scary, very interesting as well. Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. So GitHub Copilot CEO said that. Pretty sure the CEO of Anthropic then said those quotes I mentioned. Yeah, and then 30% of code in Microsoft written by AI. So yeah, a very quickly changing space. Yeah, where AI is really just starting to be a lot more autonomous than it was before. And then one thing to mention, and this is, I think you can see this within the GitHub autonomous AI agent, but we're starting to see the first autonomous AI agents that essentially constantly read through the code and can identify issues and proactively create pull requests on your behalf. If you guys know about Datadog, who has access to like running logs for programs, they're working on a pilot where based on the logs of the program you're running, they can automatically detect kind of bad errors and exceptions, and then proactively say, hey, I saw this exception. I'm going to look through the code and find out how to fix it. So, yeah, we're starting to see again autonomous AI agents improving the code just by themselves. Oh, yeah. So, again, here is a quote from Anthropic 3 to 6 months, 90% of code uh, will be written by AI. Yes. And yeah, I like this advice. It's super important to be really good at using these AI tools. Now, yes, they can act autonomously, but if you've used it yourself, you can also see that there are some limitations to how the AI will write the code, to what types of errors it will get into. So there's still going to be a need for understanding how these tools are working and to iteratively improve on them as well. Okay, and yeah, just some recent advancements in the last week that I was kind of hinting at. We have OpenAI Codex, which is a cloud-based coding agent that will write tests, write fixes in a virtual dev environment, run it as well, and just fix issues all independently. So instead of kind of shepherding the AI as you write the code together within the IDE, you essentially have this AI on standby who, like a normal human, can pull down the code base, make changes to it, and then push it afterwards. And then we see a similar thing with Google Jules, where we have another autonomous AI agent. You give it some tasks, it has access to your GitHub code base, and it will make changes for you on your behalf without needing to do anything afterwards. Awesome. Okay, so we just covered that. Now let's move on to a brief demo section. So yeah, so just a quick question. How long do you think a developer needs to build a basic app using AI tool? And the answer is really just a few minutes. With a series of basic prompts, an AI can really do a lot of this stuff. And yeah, again, why should everyone learn it? If you guys are looking for jobs, I'm sure you have noticed that there are people who actually ask explicitly for experience using AI to implement different things. And yeah, you'll certainly have a competitive advantage simply because your output will be so much larger. You'll be able to get so much more done compared to people who simply aren't able or aren't currently using these tools. Yes, okay. And I like this future proofing part because if you haven't really understood the previous conversation we've had, the one main takeaway you should have is that increasingly coding development itself is going to be completely changed. It's going to be increasingly based on interacting with an AI who will control your environment for you, who will perform actions on your behalf, instead of actually interacting with those code and writing the code yourself. A lot of the times it'll be, hey, how do I get the AI to refactor the code? How do I get the AI to write that piece of code for me? What do I have to say to it to get that behavior? Because simply writing the code yourself, fixing the bugs yourself is just going to be so much more time consuming compared to an AI who can do it. But there's a lot of subtlety to it. It's not that, these tools will just work great out of the box. You really have to think about how you interact with them as well. A prompt goes a long way, and learning how to write the right prompts really relates to almost your communication skill as a human. Like thinking about what you need to say to someone to direct them on the right path to do something for you. So this future proofing, kind of thinking about how development will change because of I think a really quick way to summarize it is that we're all going to become software managers. We're all going to become managers of a team of AI junior devs and AI mid-tier devs, etc. And we got to figure out, how do I tell these kind of pseudo humans with the right degree of detail how to get the task done? So a lot of, I think, the skills of the future at this point is really about communication, properly communicating technical problems with the right level of detail to guide the AI on how to do things. And yeah, it's super important because like just actually before this presentation here, I was having this whole conversation with the AI to fix a specific bug at Oracle, and I actually made a mistake. I framed the problem in a way that led the AI to only look at a subset of the code. I thought the issue was in like these three files, and I didn't realize it was in another set of three files. So me and the AI, I was like telling it, hey, what's wrong? Like give me the logs, like why do you do this? And I was implicitly leading the AI to only look at those three files, when in actuality we were just looking at the completely wrong set of files, and we needed to think about the other set as well. So thinking back about what I could have done better would have been to say, hey, let's think broadly on why this issue still occurs. What are the other pieces of the code that could be affecting it, instead of kind of narrow pigeonholing it on a specific set and having it kind of misfocus as well. And on the other opposite side, being too vague. If you just give a general instruction like write me an app, it's not going to know what to do. If you say write me a quick travel app, it's still not going to know what to do. You still have to have a certain level of detail so that the AI knows the right steps to perform. Otherwise, you'll just be too vague. So yeah, just a quick overview of how to use these tools and kind of what the future productivity benefits are. Awesome. So yeah, here we have just a high level sample workflow. We won't go over this in this demo that will follow, but it just gives you a good idea about how in your own time, you can really use a lot of pre-built tools to get a travel app, as this example shows, out within a matter of an hour or two, essentially. So here we have, okay, let's think about what we want to build. So you can talk with Cloud and say, hey, I want to build a travel app. And you can ask, hey, excuse me, what are the features that I should include in there? What are some of the screens that I might need? And then Cloud will think it through, give you some suggestions, and you can have a long form conversation saying, hey, I like these 5 screens, these 5 flows you suggested. Let's iterate it on it together. And eventually you have an output. You can say, Cloud, please summarize our conversation on how to build this travel app so I can provide it to Lovable. And it can write a markdown file, it can write some outputs to you. And then with that text, you can just copy paste it into an application like Lovable. Lovable is a dedicated AI tool for building applications from scratch. But honestly, you can just skip over to Cursor, use the Agentic AI tooling there, and give the application spec to them. However, we do have maybe the need to be a bit more detailed. This is, again, is going to depend a bit on the noise of the model and what exactly you tell it. But it's also helpful to be a bit more detailed on, okay, what exactly do you want for auth? What type of DB do you want? Cursor and the AI there can certainly create that for you. But as a developer, you might also want a hand in it. And that's another interesting part. I also alluded to it earlier, where a large part of interacting with the AI is really not only telling it what to do, but helping you figure out what to do as well. a very valuable, viable way to interact with the Cursor AI or just any AI in general is like, hey, I want to build a travel app. I have all of these ideas. Here's the spec of the application I generated. What type of what type of DBs should I use? And Cursor, the AI there, will have a long formed inner reasoning and give you multiple suggestions. And based on an ongoing conversation, you might come down to these specific auth mechanisms, these specific DB mechanisms. And at the end of your conversation, you can be like, okay, I like what you suggested. Just do it. And it'll just do it. So yeah, part of the kind of getting value from the AI. It's just like talking about it, thinking through different problems as if you were talking to a human. And then at the end of the conversation, you can just be like, hey, I like it. I like the auth and DB mechanisms you suggested. Can you just do that in the code now? And so, yeah, once you kind of iterate, create it in Cursor, you can, I'm sure you know, publish it to GitHub, and then you can do a Vercel deployment. So again, depending on how much detail and control you want, this can be done in several hours now, where beforehand it might have taken double-digit hours instead. Awesome. So I'm going to go to the demo, but maybe I can just, I saw some chat, so I want to make sure I'm not missing any major questions. Let's see. So yeah, we can cover some of the questions at the end for the Q&A, but I'll just I can take one or two live questions if someone wants to ask now as well. Okay. I don't see any new chat questions or Q&A, so we can just wait for the end. Let's just move on to the brief demo. And I know we're kind of later in time, so I'll be a bit fast with this so we can cover a lot. So actually, before I go into the AI developer flows and kind of my recommendations there and insights, I actually wanted to kind of give some time to handle some of the maybe the non-dev folks who are here as well, and something that can be useful for you. So in short, we were talking a lot about how AI is there for developers. A developer can use AI within the IDE or autonomously to get code written. But I think what a lot of maybe less technical folk, but a lot of people might not appreciate yet is that AI is increasingly able to control any piece of software. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but it's really a big part of kind of how things are advancing. So I have a cloud desktop app here. And what I just wanted to kind of share with you is how AI is increasingly able to do just about anything. So I had to create a presentation for a company I was consulting at for AI. And I gave it some context, I gave it the request from them, and then I also gave them just some background about myself because that was what was necessary in the presentation. And if you aren't aware of it, essentially AI can actually create presentations for you on the fly. So I was like, hey, I have a presentation I need to do. Here are some artifacts just about me because I had to give some introduction, the context of what they wanted. Can you just do something for me? And it went ahead, structured a bunch of slides and created what you see here is actually an HTML website. So it could be as interactive as I wanted. I just wanted a basic presentation, so I didn't ask for much. But this is all AI generated. So I didn't think about what the structure should be. I just talked about my use cases, talked about what I needed, and then it just did it all for me. So that's it. And besides that, with the power of MCP, AI can really control anything. So I'll just show my brief setup here. I don't know if I have a quick example. I might not at the moment, but you can see that I have added multiple tools here, like here. So I haven't connected Gmail, but I've enabled web search. I can connect my Gmail. I can connect my calendar. These are pre-built tools, but I've also added my own custom ones as well. So I've added a file system tool. I've added a memory tool, Puppeteer. And what this means is that if I ask this AI here on cloud to write or read my files, it'll use this tool to do that. If I wanted it to save a memory about myself so that it could reference that in the future, it can use this memory tool. And a really cool one, and we're going to see more advancements here, I'm sure, is Puppeteer. So Puppeteer is a way to control websites So if I tell the AI, hey, open this website and do a bunch of things, like look on LinkedIn, post a message, it will do that. So it will use Puppeteer. It'll open up LinkedIn. It'll take screenshots, understand what's going on, and click on buttons for me on my behalf. Now, this not so great in the demo because it can take some time. It's not the fastest yet, but increasingly we'll see more and more speed, more and more intelligence through all of these tasks. And actually, an interesting thing to keep in mind, if you did look at the Cloud 4 benchmarks, is that it's really good at coding. It had good graduate level reasoning. It wasn't the best compared to the previous ones, just really exceeded on coding. By far the best model according to that benchmark. But what's interesting is that they actually have a web control benchmark as well for like booking a flight, and I think like booking dinner or something, like controlling a website to do that. And it still wasn't the best at that. So I would highly recommend to keep up to date with advancements on these AI models in the web control space, because we're seeing a lot and lot more tools and more AI models, which are controlling generic desktop applications and websites on your behalf. So very interesting next steps there. But again, just a quick recap for all of us, really, not only the ones who are doing development. With this MCP server ecosystem, people can write an MCP server for anything and have an AI interact with that MCP server. So to make that a bit more concrete, I also have Pipedream, and there are a bunch of other tools out there, but they have a bunch of MCP servers. So maybe my use case is, why is it the AI in my Slack channel? Why can't it send messages for me? Why can't it summarize all of the Slack messages from Bob last month, etc.? Well, all you have to do, and I'm not going to go into detail about the setup. You can follow up on a Pipedream or MCP in general, but you can just look up Slack and say, hey, there's a Slack MCP. I just need to hook it up with my OpenAI or cloud desktop app. And now my cloud desktop app can control and interact with Slack on my behalf. So here are some of the tools it can do. It can create a reminder for me. It can find a message. It can even kick out a user. That's crazy. And there are a bunch of MCP servers. So I think they have, what, 10,000? So I'm pretty sure there's an Outlook one. Now, if I'm using Outlook or using Outlook Calendar, I can set this up and have an AI control that for me. Not just any Outlook calendar, but my specific account. And yeah, I don't know all of your guys' workflows, but I'm sure with 10,000 tools, chances are, oh, interesting. I think it's still searching. Well, chances are there's going to be an app for you. So all of these tools can all be controlled by AI now because of the power of the MCP framework. You just have to set it up. So really cool stuff. Last part of the demo I wanted to cover was more developer centric. So let's see. Yeah, so for this presentation, I've discussed a lot about having a cursor. This is what I've shown here. Having cursor kind of control and write the code for you. So I'll just give a brief overview about my workflow and kind of how it's really delivered value for me. So I'm working on a resume tailoring application to help people tailor their resumes automatically. And you can see on the right side view, I've just had a conversation with this AI on doing a variety of tasks. So I had to refactor the code to make the AI graph state correct. So as you can see, I was actually kind of vague about what I wanted. I was like, modify the nodes, add a new state, and it just did it all for me. So I'm sure if you guys use Cursor or Windsurf, this is old news for you. But if for those who haven't, this just shows the power of it. With a simple prompt, it's done all of this work writing the code. So these boxes here show it's changing the code on my behalf. And giving me output on kind of its thought process and what it did. And then I can say, okay, there are other things I want as well related to that conversation. Sometimes there are issues, so I had to correct it. But it still has this long form independent flow where it's doing tasks that would take me 20, 30 minutes and doing it all condensed within a 1 to 2 minute workflow. So this also allows me to iterate aggressively on what I want to do as well. And then, yeah, I think I stopped this question earlier because I had to do something else. But it's good at Python, it's good at SQL, it's good at every single major language, and it can just kind of write things independently for you. So like I have this project in Flutter when I was making a full stack application. I don't have the old conversations, unfortunately, but just to tell you about my workflows with like UI application, some of the code can get a bit redundant. So there are common data provider patterns, common files and classes that can be reused. So I would use the AI here to just reference multiple files. So I can be like, I can reference an entire folder, or I can reference individual files, etc. But I can bring it all in. And I can also ask the AI to do intelligent searches on my behalf. It'll run grep to find related files, to essentially know what to interact with, to know how everything fits together, etc. So yeah, quick demo there. Yeah, I think that's good. We can leave the Q&A to go a bit more in depth for specific flows anyone has questions on. But let me switch back to the presentation here. Let's see. Oh yeah, and one other thing for all of us actually is, again, as you know, talked a lot about AI development tools, and I think we've gotten it. So again, the TLDR, you can talk to an AI in your chat in Cursor and Windsurf. It'll control your code for you, make all of the edits on your behalf. It can run tasks that would take 20 minutes or 30 minutes in a span of 1 to 2 minutes instead, and really gives you a lot of power to kind of think at a high level. What do I want to do in the code? How do I explain that to a human and just give that to the AI and have it do things on my behalf? Now, think about that workflow. So we're really changing the way we interact with tools. Specifically for IDEs, we're thinking at a higher level of what we want to achieve and not even writing the code at first or at all. And just saying, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Here are the sub goals, and let me give the AI those sub goals. Or I want to achieve this. I don't know how to achieve this. Let me talk to the AI. The AI, we have a conversation. It tells me how I can do this, multiple suggestions. Then I say, okay, AI, do that. So this is kind of the general way we're interacting with code itself when we're creating applications. Now think about those flows and just realize for a sec that flow where we think at a high level and get the AI to do things is really going to expand to everything. So the last part of the demo I wanted to cover was, and this is just one tool, but AI assistance for web tasks. They have a really good video. I think you guys can watch it at another time, but essentially this is a web AI assistant. So you ask it to do something, and it will independently search through the web, interact with all of those websites to do those actions for you. So they see like checking news, website scanner, all of these different use cases can be done now. Instead of saying, oh, I have to like post on LinkedIn and I have to read everyone's messages, you can literally just tell this AI bot, read my LinkedIn messages, write these posts with this type of style, and it'll just do it for you. So again, this is really going to be how AI is going to reinvent all of our workflows. We're really going to think at a high level what needs to be done, and the AI is increasingly able to just deal with all of the implementation, execution details of our high level tasks. So again, we're all increasingly becoming managers, product managers, high level thinkers, because we don't all need to do the menial work we were doing before. That's increasingly going to get done by AI. Awesome. So let's go back to the presentation. Yes, I think I'll hand it back to you, Abhinav.
Yes, Kyle. I'll take it forward. Thank you for the quick agenda. For everyone who has put their questions in the chat, we'll have this last section of the presentation, and then we'll be going forward with the Q&A, answering each one of your questions. So yeah. So the last part of the agenda is how to be a 10x professional with interview Kickstart. As you have seen, you have got a first-hand view of how these AI tools are used in the industry, how software engineers like Kyle are using it in their day-to-day, and so on, how the sort of industry has progressed from some code generation tools to now asynchronous agents which can act as a junior dev also. Um, now enabled or agentic AI professional own domain, learning about building agent tools are one aspects of becoming a 10x professional or becoming an AI enabled professionals, to be very specific. But yeah, but ability to build AI agents on your own allows you to automate workflows, build solutions for your own specific use case, and so on. And there are various approaches to it. It doesn't have to be just a coding approach. It can be a no code, low code approach as well. Let me cover the program portfolio where we have these aspects already. So at Interview Kickstart, our programs follow a unique approach, and the key USP, key unique selling point in our programs are these three pillars. We have a project-centric learning. That means we don't believe in only theoretical knowledge or certification-based knowledge. Everything that you learn is based on the real-world project. You are building real-world agentic systems, learning about the tools, seeing them in use cases, building alongside the instructors, and so on. And this is an end-to-end approach that you follow for any projects that you are doing with us, right? So starting from, let's say, an instructor-led project, you're getting idea, getting familiar yourself with the various tools, or building AI agents, to be very specific. So you build your first agent in an instructor-led environment, and then once you have done that, you got an idea about the conceptual things and everything. You move forward with building an advanced agent that is an end-to-end agent from designing, building, testing, evaluating to deployment on your own, right? And you are guided and mentored by FANG plus engineers during this process to help to make sure that you are at the right path and you end up with a best possible or best implementation for your use case, so that your project is portfolio ready. You are able to showcase it to the to recruiters or in your personal profile, right? So right from the design to deployment on clouds, there is end-to-end aspects that we follow when it comes to building agents, also. Then, as I mentioned, these tools, these AI tools and etc., are more from a practical perspective. So first pillar was when we are sort of taking a project-centric approach. Second one is you learn, right? The learning environment is driven by actual practitioners of these tools, agentic systems. So you learn from FANG plus engineers and managers. As you know, FANG or these big tech companies are the one who are leading this AI revolution. So when it comes to learning about agentic applications or use cases or agentic development, you directly learn from actual industry practitioners. And this is the typical schedule that we follow for our live classes. Our programs are tailored for working professionals. So primarily, the week starts on Thursday. So every week we start on Thursday by sharing some foundation material. These are conceptual videos for you to better prepare, fill in some skill gaps. Then there is a primary live class that happens on Sunday. It's a 4 hour long class, starts 9 a.m. Pacific time to 1 p.m. Pacific time. This is a project-led class. As I was explaining so far, you have a concept that you're discussing. You take a problem statement around it, and then you learn the concepts as well during, let's say, while you build the problem statement or build solve that particular use case, right? So that's the Sunday class led by instructors, highly interactive 4 hour long class. And after the primary live class, you get some hands-on projects for you to work on your own to apply the skills that you have learned. During the week, if you have some doubts, some questions, we don't want you to bounce around. We have office hour sessions, which are after the working hours, 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, let's say. And in these office hours, you can get your doubt resolved in a one-on-one setting from an instructor again, so that you don't sort of waste a lot of time on a typical issue or a doubt or so, right? So you have access to office hour sessions as well for a quick doubt resolution. If you have let's say doubts which you want to get clarity on immediately, We also have teaching assistants. So you can, let's say, drop an email, and then they will revert you, and then they can connect with you on an ad hoc basis as well, right? So there are one to many technical coaching sessions which are scheduled, and teaching assistant are available over the email for any kind of support that you need, right? So this is how typical week look like, right from the foundation videos to instructor-led live classes to doubt resolution. We really close the loop. On a typical week, our students spend 10 to 12 hours, that is including the class time, for their learnings, to maximize their learning outcomes. The third piece, which is the most important piece, is the tailored programs that we have for professionals based on their domains, right? So we are not covering any generic content for everyone, right? Software engineers may want to take an approach which is heavy on building software development. They want to use the tools for productivity as well as build AI agents to integrate in their current products or some self projects, right from the design to deployment, while product managers, program managers, and so want to take an approach where they are more focused on AI strategies. So that's the idea there. So based on who you are, what is your career goal, we then suggest you an up-leveling solutions. So if you are someone who is coming from a software, product managers, TPM, EM, and cloud backgrounds, and your goal is to sort of learn these AI skills, build AI agents, learn about these AI tools for better productivity, and get overall AI enabled with agentic skills, we have applied agentic AI course for you, or agent up course. And if you want to, on top of that, really go further and build industry specific projects, we have a project of course. I'll be sharing details of these programs in a while. And if you are someone who is coming from a ML and data science background, or you are a software engineer who is very good at Python, you have some exposure to machine learning already, you want to directly jump on to building projects, industry specific projects, end to end, mentored by FANG plus engineers, you can take up the project of course directly. So in the next few slides, I'll be going one by one, and sort of discussing these details accordingly. So the first program that we have is Agentic AI for software engineers. Now over here, as I said, software engineers, you're learning Agentic AI. You want to take an approach, or the expectation from you is that you will be able to design, develop, and deploy your AI agents of your on your own, and so on. So that's the approach that we take. It's a coding heavy sort of program designed for professionals coming from engineering backgrounds. So we start with a quick boot camp on Python, in case Python is not primary programming language. So that is also covered. And then we directly jump on to building AI agents, right? So you use tools such as LangChain, LangGraph, vector DBs, right? RAG, the entire agentic tech stack you utilize to design your first agent. Then we also go into the details of underlying large language models, so you know how things work under the APIs, multimodal Gen AI models, conversational models, the architectures, and all. This helps you better understand the technology, the limitations, the use case, so that you're able to, let's say, come up with a solve advanced use cases with the same text, right? And then towards the end, you also deploy your agents once you have built that. So that's the coverage in brief. I have pasted a quick Google form in the chat. So any one of these programs, if you feel you're interested in, please free to fill that. And our program advisors will reach out to you. They'll be consulting you in your queries regarding the program or your upskilling journey. And can help you with further more details on the curriculum, what exactly we cover and how we cover, and etc. Right? And then the program ends with a capstone project, again an end-to-end project for you to showcase your learnings. And this is a portfolio ready project, so it's a mentored by engineers across the way. Then we have a separate programs, a specialized program for further tech professionals, such as cloud engineers, DevOps, security analysts, data analysts, and other IT professionals who are not into day-to-day coding, but they have some exposure to coding. So we don't want that coding experience to be your bottleneck for learning agentic systems or becoming an AI-enabled professionals. Hence, this particular course, while it has the same learning objective in the software engineering one, it takes an approach where we are using no-code, low-code tools to build AI agents also, right? So we start with building agentic systems, and here we utilize tools such as LangGraph, N8N, and so, which are no-code, low-code tools. You need minimum coding for that. There is some bit of coding that will be involved as part of this course, but that is covered during the program, so you don't have to worry about that as well. But the primary approach is focused on use case, the use case that you have, and then implementing it with no code, low code, without worrying too much about the technicalities of it, right? Programming and all. So you build your first AI agents with tools like LangChain and all. You utilize RAG, use databases with VectorDB and all. So it will be a use case centric approach. We'll be solving a particular use cases and many use cases. You also learn about LLMs and all about core generative AI concept. This builds a strong foundation knowledge in the field so that you're able to follow the advancement that will keep on happening, as well as understand the larger use case. And applicability of Gen AI or agentic AI solutions in a particular problem that you may be solving. And towards the end, you also have a capstone project that you solve. There is a separate specializations that we have for product managers, engineering managers, and technical program managers. The curriculum is follows again, has the same learning objective from the previous curriculum that I just showed. But I just wanted to highlight, let's say for product managers, engineering managers, and technical program managers, we have separate specializations. For PMs, we focus on AI product roadmaps and strategies. For TPMs, it's about AI execution strategies. And for engineering managers, it's about leading scalable enterprise-ready AI initiatives, right? So we have these specialized tracks as well. There are classes, there are mentors around how the agentic AI skills that you have learned, how that can be applied, let's say, in a product management, TPM or EM management domain or use cases, right? There are capstone projects as well. Again, those are specific to the PM, TPM, and EM specializations, right? Now, since we have been an interview preparation platform into tier one companies, along with your agentic AI can pair of your own domain. As I was mentioning in my introduction slide, we have 18 different job domains where we offer interview preparation. It's tailored across software, product, data, and systems domain. You get training from experts from your own role. Who are working in these FANG+ companies. You get mock interviews through them, resume profile building, those suggestions, suggestions as well. And overall, the program covers the technical and behavioral aspects both in order to crack these FANG+ company interviews for your own role, right? So that's our Agent Up program that combines applied agentic AI as well as interview preparation. And then at last, we have the Project Up course. Uh, uh, this is the This is a structured learning approach projects, building an AI learning, and you want to directly jump onto building projects. This is the course for you. We kick off with an instructor guided project for the first 4 weeks, and from week 5 onwards, you transition to a self-paced project journey guided by mentors. By the end of the project, you won't just have a finished project. You'll have an enterprise experience that is deployable, presentable, and interview ready. Right? So these are the 3 courses that we cover. Applied agentic AI, in case you want to be agentic AI enabled, building your AI agents using AI tools for better productivity. Agent Up, if you're someone who is want to learn these agentic AI skills for getting a competitive edge in order to crack tier one company interviews, you can pair our course um, uh, with interview preparation of your own domain. And if you're someone who is coming from a machine learning background, jump onto building project is the duration and for project up it's again which I already covered. This is how we sort of structure our every week. If you have any questions regarding it, please feel free to reach out. These are